Trigger warning, you are now watching Wrestle AM, coming to you live courtesy of Kocosports.com. Half wrestling show, half porn show, pretty much all BS. And of course, you got half the Koco crew here holding it down live. Yours truly, the sexiest man on all of Internet Wrestling Radio. Boom, boom, here shaking the room, live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. And joining me there, way across the pond, LK on the doll, show me where the bad man touched you.
I'm not allowed to show you where the bad man touched me, because if I did that, I would get kicked off the air and reported. And that's not what we did. Not what we need. And anyway, before we get down to breaking down NXT, the way that this is going to work for the next at least trial run anyway, every day you'll get Wrestle AM minus, MMA AM will be once, twice, 3 times a week, depending on the news and the fight cards and if I can watch them or not. So what we'll do is Wrestle AM, we'll cover the review show. So, for example, it's Wednesday. We'll cover NXT, and we'll also do Lucha Underground to Netflix news, and we'll just cover news. So, Wrestle AM will also be a review show and a news show, all in one. Cram it all in one. Thank you for being, ladies and gentlemen. Win, loss, or tie in the comments. Boom, booms. Been a very long time. It feels like it's been an eternity since I've seen your face. What were your thoughts before we get onto this week's NXT of the Takeover show, of the Rumble show, and the Raw SmackDown show if you watch them?
Takeover show I enjoyed. I thought there was a pretty good chance for all 3 titles to change hands, but only 2 of the 3 did. I kind of like where they're going with it. I think the one that I got upset with the most was Ty Dillinger losing, but when I saw what happened the next night at the Rumble, I was like, okay, it makes a little bit more sense now. That's fine. As far as the Rumble goes, I really didn't watch the pay-per-view with the exception of the actual Rumble match itself. And I have mixed emotions on it. I will be the first to tell you I'm not a Randy Orton fan. However, I would rather him win it than somebody like Roman Reigns. I would rather Randy Orton win it rather than some part-timer like Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, or The Undertaker. I really felt like somebody who has been on the roster all year, who's been busting their ass, deserves to get that spot, deserves to get that main event at Mania, than to someone who's just there for a couple of months to cash a paycheck and go home. And plus, I also felt like, having a part-timer win it also sends a message that, hey, these are the real stars. The guys you see that bust their ass the other 10 months out of the year, they're okay, but they're not the real stars. When you watch around Mania, these are when the real stars come in. So I will at least say that I'm glad they gave it to a full-timer. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it's not going to be Orton Cena part 709. And so, but I don't know. All in all, they were both pretty good.
Watch AJ versus Big Match Sean. Like, when you finish this, before you go to bed or whatever, when you're in bed, if you can access network on your television, if you're in your room, I really recommend Big Match John versus AJ Styles because it was fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just there. I recommend you. I think you'd love it. You like it. Wasn't as good as Okada. Well, people are comparing it to Okada and Mega, and they're 2 different things with different psychologies, with different styles. They're 2 completely different things, different programs, different everything. Okay. But people are comparing it to and saying, hey, look, Okada and Omega is better. And also they're saying, no, Cena AJ's better. I think they're both amazing at their own thing. I think Omega and Okada was my match of the year still to this day. But AJ and Cena was a good 4.5-star match. So if you haven't watched it, Booms, you're doing a disservice to yourself if you don't watch it.
Okay. I've got another off day up tomorrow. I can check it out.
Awesome. Let's get down to NXT, baby.
NXT, okay. This one, okay, I got to ask you, man, win, loss, or tie? What did you give tonight's show?
It was difficult. It was repackaged city, wasn't it? It was good if you didn't watch Takeover. I'm looking at this from the Ember Moon match, the UK champ Tyler Bates match, and the main event. I'm going to give it a weak tie. But this show was more about just, it was post-Takeover. They had nothing taped. They're actually taping tonight for Full Sail next week. I did enjoy the Ember Moon match. I did enjoy the Tyler Bate match. The main event was okay. I think I might be the only... Actually, no, I think you're also a fan of Elias Samson as well, if I'm correct.
It's not that I like Elias Samson. I don't hate Elias Samson.
Okay. And before we get down to breaking down NXT, back to the Rumble. I think that there was masterful planning with the Rumble. And what I mean by that is with Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, the crowd weren't cheering about the fact that Randy Orton won. They were probably unhappy about the fact that Randy Orton won. They were cheering at the fact that Roman Reigns didn't win. If that was anyone else in that final two with Randy Orton, everyone else would have been cheering for the other guy. That was masterful booking, and they need to turn Roman Reigns heel very quick. They won't. They really won't, but they need to. Now is the time at Mania when most eyes are on there. They really should. Anyway, get down to breaking down this week's NXT.
All right, again, this was more of like a repackage, but these were only matches taped before NXT TakeOver went live on the air on WWE Network. First, we saw Ember Moon taking on Elias. Ember Moon, of course, she's a big favorite because she's out of Dallas. They're over there not too far away in San Antonio. I thought the match was decent. It did not go long, and honestly, I don't think it needed to go long because I don't know. I know Ember Moon can go. I know she's got a very extensive background. Elias is somebody that they're working with, but it was a pretty good match. There was a little bit of I don't want to say a botch. It looked like she was about to go like some kind of springboard off the middle rope. It looked like they were kind of waiting, it was kind of clunky right there. But that was the only really nitpicky thing. And then she hit the Eclipse off the top rope for the 1, 2, 3, gets the win. Now, I enjoy the match for what it was. I look it forward to, because I think Ember Moon's going to be the big baby face that they're building up. Elias, I think she's got a huge upside in the future. I think she's got a good look. I think maybe she needs some kind of gimmick, something to make her stand out a little bit, because the cute girl from Toronto just, it's not cutting it. But I think that can wait until she's, completely seasoned and ready to go. And I do have something. This is more of like an observation. Would you agree with me that the Eclipse looks pretty cool as a finisher?
Yeah, I really, really like the Eclipse as a finisher.
But have you ever watched her hit the Eclipse on the slow motion replay?
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it?
It looks odd because it's like the opponent, no matter who it is literally this only looks like this when they do it, when they replay it in slow motion. Okay, here she comes off the top rope. She's coming down, and oh, there she goes. When they do it in slow motion, you literally looks like you see the opponent. You kind of stick their neck out there, like, okay, hit me with your finisher. I don't know. It's just one of those things. When you see it in real time, it looks cool, but in slow motion, it looks weird.
I probably just wasn't paying attention. I probably wasn't paying attention to now. I just see it and think it's a good move. And with Elias, I actually think she's actually got a future because she's got that divas look. Like, what do I mean that? I mean, she looks attractive. She looks like a whore. But she's actually better than average in the ring. Compared to, if you took the average women's diva on Monday Night Raw, the quote, whore, unquote, she's better than the majority of them. Naughty boom booms, don't leave the stockings under the bed. Put your panties away, booms. Put your panties away.
This the neighbor downstairs laughing.
Yeah, tell them to fuck off.
Doors.
Yeah.
It sounds like a chair moving.
Okay.
Shame on you. Put the bins away. Booms, I told you to do the washing. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, I think Elias has a great upside, and I actually think she'll be a star one day. Just give her a bit more time. Ember Moon, I really liked her entrance in that big building. Like, I thought the entrance in the big building went all dark. There was the moon on the mini Tron they had there. I think that will work on the main roster. I think that will really work on the main roster. And I think Ember Moon and Asuka at the next TakeOver. And then after that, Ember Moon is the star of the women's division. And then Asuka can move up to the main roster. We'll talk more about that during a backstage interview with Asuka. But I enjoyed the match for what it was worth.
No, we go to the backstage part. It was Kathy Kelly. She was speaking with Asuka after her match and said, there's been some talk about, Ember Moon calling her out. And Asuka's like, Ember who? Ember fool? Ember who? She's like, she even works here? And I was like, ooh, that's pretty hard. I was like, okay, this is what they're going to do. This is going to be the women's championship match in the Takeover for Mania weekend. Ember Moon immediately had a response in like the next segment saying, hey, I'm glad, it's like, oh, she doesn't know who I am. Well, you know what? I'm glad she won, because she's beaten a lot of people, but she's never been in the ring with me. And when I get done with her, when the dust is settled, she's going to know who I am. I thought that was perfect.
I agree. I really agree. It's difficult. I like Asuka doing that, but at the same time, she came across as a heel. Like, to me personally, she came across as a heel. And I don't know if that's what you really want.
I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to turn her full-blown heel within the next few weeks. So that way, fingers crossed, when Ember Moon beats her, she gets like this huge colossal pop. Asuka gets the send-off, and she debuts the Monday after Mania.
That's a possibility. I do think that Ember Moon, though, will be the star of the women's division going forward. She was over like Rover with the crowd. I see big things. And Ember Moon's promos aren't bad, but they're just not great. Like, there's something missing there. Maybe she just needs to get into that character a little bit more. That's just an idea.
But that's what they're there for.
Exactly. They're in NXT for a reason, and sometimes it's difficult to forget it, especially when you have Triple H going around on conference calls saying, oh, it's a third brand. No, it's a fucking developmental brand. Just remember what you are sometimes, Triple H. Remember what you are.
Then next we had a one-on-one match. We had the WWE United Kingdom champion, Tyler Bate, taking on Oney Lorcan. I enjoyed this match. Bate, man, I just cannot get over how young this guy is. He's 19.
I'm older than him. Older than him. That's insane. I am old. I'm 20 years old. I'm actually older than Tyler Bate. And this guy is on WWE Network television with the fucking UK title. Fair play to him. Much props.
He's got this, I almost hate to say it because it's going to sound like an insult, but he's just got the look like the vaudevillains. Why not bring him, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven in? Why not bring in Mustache Mountain? I think they would do well on SmackDown.
Speaking of this, before we actually get down to this match, what are we actually going to do? Well, not we in particular. What are the WWE going to do about this belt? They haven't defended it. Are we going to get matches on TV? Is the WWE UK going to have their own show? If so, when? If so, where? If so, what time on the network? What's going on about this? Because I haven't heard nothing about this. Normally you get it on the dirt sheets or the sites. I just haven't heard nothing about it yet, and it's really strange.
Hopefully this doesn't go the way of the old WWF Canadian Heavyweight Championship, where I think there was only, if that actually happened, you can look it up. There was only one champion they ever had. It was Dino Bravo. And it was just so convoluted, and they just finally just ditched it not too long ago. And then they also had like a WWF, again, these were WWF championships. They had a martial arts champion once upon a time. A lot of things just didn't work out. But I think they needed to go ahead and Tyler Bate needs to start defending it, because if they've got, with the exception of What Culture, they're in pretty good with all the other promotions. So even if he's just retaining it, why not have him start defending it? I mean, just to get some kind of buzz.
That's the possibility. Like, just defend it, and then I guess they could defend it, and then have like a weekly mini show. Go on.
What now? Is Tyler Bate one of those guys who goes around circulating in the promotions around the United Kingdom, or is he specific to just one promotion?
No, there's not really many people who are specific to one promotion. Everyone kind of flip-flops in between. Minus Rev Pro just get the big guys in from New Japan and from England mainly, like Ricochet. They're more crossovers between Japan and America. The Progress, the IPWs, they got Future Shock, you got PCW. They're all flip-flopping and fly in between. So it's kind of like the territory days. So they would go there. Sometimes they would bring the belt, sometimes they wouldn't.
That's perfect. I mean, that could just be any kind of match that you get him booked in. He has to defend that championship. I mean, you're not changing the title. The title's not changing hands, but he's defending it. You're building up. You're building up Tyler Bate. Why not do that?
I mean, you could. What you could do is you could actually book the match yourself, but have it happen at say for example, they book Tyler Bate versus Wolfgang, okay, and they do it at ICW. Okay, they do it at ICW, and they say, look, record it, commentate on it, send it to us, and we'll air it on the network. Just that one match, and it could be the WWE UK whatever fucking name they produce. I think that's what they could do. And then, but this, again, specifically contracted WUK talents can only be involved in the title match. I think they could do that.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, wasn't ICW one of the promotions that was in talks with WWE about getting their stuff put on the network?
Yep, there was indeed. It was.
There's your content right there.
I don't know if that's a legit or not, because stats die down very quickly. Like, things come up and things go down. Like, today, the topic is Seth Rollins' injury and the Lucha Underground to Netflix. That's what's going on today. Whereas that happened and it's kind of not been talked about again. It's really strange because it was big at the time and now it's just like no one talks about it.
Well, now if you're going to mention that, I mean, business negotiations take some time. I mean, I remember the whole, is Lucha Underground going to be on Netflix? I think the first news of that actually broke out and talks actually started in the fall. And here we are, February, and they're just now making the announcement that it's going to be on. So these contract negotiations take time. So maybe that's why. Maybe no news is good news because at least it's not, hey, contract, the talks have fallen through. Maybe they're just trying to hammer out some details. They're, faxing stuff back and forth to lawyers. They're circling things. They're crossing out other items on contracts. And maybe I'm just making a bigger deal out of it. What's going on?
Yeah. And then we went to a backstage with Nakamura. He's selling his injury. And I loved Chris Hero there going, not that way, not that way. I really like Chris Hero. And I think they're going to set up that mega match at the Takeover in Orlando. I reckon it's going to be Nakamura versus Cassius Ohno. I think that's going to be absolutely out of this world incredible.
One thing that they did right there, the commentary didn't make a big deal of, was Cassius Ohno, the former Chris Hero. He was right there. And I mean, he was right there with Prince Albert. He was right there. And he's just like, yeah, it sucks, man. Not that kind of way. You don't want to, not like that. And nobody says anything. Nobody says, oh my God, Cassius Ohno's back. Or, hey, what's Cassius Ohno doing backstage? Nobody says anything.
I think that's the point that they were trying to bring across, not make a big deal about it, because then they want a couple of viewers to miss on that. Like, oh shit, yeah, that's Cassius Ohno. Like, you don't want... The point of this was Nakamura selling, not Chris Hero being there. Because if Chris Hero's there, your attention is not going to be on Nakamura, it's going to be on Chris Hero, because that's what the commentators are telling you. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening to a comment to say Chris Hero, you're now not paying attention to Nakamura, which is the point of the segment. So I think they did a good job in not telling.
Right. Then afterwards, they go backstage again with Bobby Roode. The interviewer, was it Kathy Kelly? Or was it?
Yes.
Okay, it was Kathy Kelly. It's like, it's like she, and this is what I love. I think she's gotten a lot better because she basically tossed Bobby Roode a softball and let him knock it out of the park. That's what a good interviewer, especially in professional wrestling, can do. You basically set it up to let the talent shine. So she said, Nakamura, he suffered a knee injury in the match. Do you think the outcome would have been different had Nakamura not been hurt? And then Roode just goes off. It's like, you must be new here. I'm going to let that slide because, that's the first question you're going to ask me. It's like talking about how the Roode era has begun. It's going to be glorious. Just lets him go off. Lets him get on a tangent. And I think it was just great. So, a lot of people wouldn't notice something like that, but I noticed that, she tossed him that's what you kind of do in this industry. You toss them a softball and you let them hit it.
The issue with that sometimes is that they feel very robotic and dumb and no character. I think Renee Young's did a decent enough job of establishing her as a kind of a character, but the other people like robots, it's like, What is your game plan heading into the match this Sunday? It's like they don't even like know who these wrestlers' names are half the time, and they just seem very robotic. But that's been a problem for a while.
Yeah, I think it might have something to do with they're new and they don't want to rock the boat. It's like, what can I actually do? Okay, I don't know what I can really do, so I'm going to play it safe and not get fired. My first day. So that's what I tend to think it is with the interviewers. It's just and they're kind of finding their character. They're trying to hit their stride, and this interview was just, hey, do you think this would have been different? Well, how dare you? How dare you? And they got the focus off them. They put the focus on the talent. And, and let the audience react to it.
Yeah, it was. I actually liked Rude's promo. He's a really underrated promo. He's generally a really good promo. What did you think of the video package of Corey Graves? I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it. It was a good trip down memory lane. I think it was kind of. I know why they did it. It was tipping their cap to say thank you because Corey Graves was there with NXT from day one. His career was cut short due to injuries, but he found a way to life handed him a big whole handed him a truckload of lemons. So what did he do? He started making a shit ton of lemonade. So he turned everything around. I mean, he was doing great on commentary. He got called up to Raw. He's been doing double, sometimes triple duty on that. And, it makes sense. And I think it's time for him to move on. And plus, Nigel McGuinness is going to take his place. So I think NXT is going to be in great hands. I like the package. And I think normally I would probably object to it. I'd been like, why couldn't we have like a fourth match? Why couldn't we get another match in? But I knew they only recorded so many, and I was like, you know what? I think in this case it's okay. It's okay to say thank you to one of your originals.
Yeah, damn right. He earned that few minutes. And I think he's a really good commentator, and I think he's gonna do well. And he got to call the Rumble, which was a big deal. I think that not a lot of people thought, well, like, holy shit, he actually called the Rumble. Out of every commentator they have, there is a lot.
The funniest part of his commentary on the Rumble was when I think it was number 27 when Enzo Amore came in, and he was just like, yes, this is good. Because I'm like, why? He hates Enzo Amore. And he was like, because Brock Lesnar was the number before. He's like, Enzo Amore is going to have to go in the ring and get beat up by Brock Lesnar. This is the greatest day of my life.
Yeah, it was like in the main event. He goes, I saw him when he talked about Elias Samson. He goes, I saw a man lying down on the floor with a guitar. I gave him $50 for not being Elias Samson. Like, he's so quick-witted. He's a really good commentator. And minus Byron Saxton, minus David Otunga, minus Percy Watson, W have actually got a really good announce team. And Michael Cole can be good at his job when he needs to be. Mauro Ranallo was just incredible. JBL, I find in a good role. He's good. I think bashing Jobber James Ellsworth, he's really good at promoting title and big match fights, wrestling matches. He's really good. So I really do like WWE's commentary team. Nigel McGuinness, Tom Phillips isn't too bad, but David Otunga, Percy Watson, and Byron Saxton are awful and need firing.
Yeah, I don't know why they're hanging around because I know
we all know why we're there. We're just not staying. Mm-hmm. And then we have Elias Samson versus No Way Jose. Ugh.
With No Way Jose, okay, first of all, Elias Samson, he's dead. Unless he can tweak his character a little bit and they start giving him wins over people who are not jobbers, why should I care? I don't care. Because he has not beaten anyone who is not a jobber. I mean, he has to get some wins for me to feel like he's a credible threat, because going into this, was there ever any doubt that No Way Jose was not going to win this match? No.
Yeah.
Why? Because Elias Samson has no credibility at this point. He's got wins over developmental, jobbers that they bring into Full Sail, but that's it. What feud has he won? What big match has he won? And if you want me to take him seriously, I mean, he wants to go out there and play the guitar badly, fine. If he wants to wear the scarf, fine. If he wants to, be aggressive in the ring, he wants to, annoy the crowd, that's fine. But he's got to get some wins. And No Way Jose, man, one step forward, two steps back. I've seen a lot of improvement on No Way Jose in the ring in the past few months. I mean, he's been, I hope it's hard to believe, man, but next month, I believe it's next month actually, he'll have been in NXT for a year. He debuted Mania weekend. He's gotten a lot better. I think almost under any other job, any other like kind of character role, he'd be a hell of a lot more intimidating because that guy's freaking huge. I mean, like tall. I mean, he is tall as fuck, man. But so that's the step forward. But the step back, I think he took was his finisher. I don't like this pop-up punch. I hate it. I like what because when they played around with it, when he first debuted, it was just like a solid, well, it was almost like he was throwing a baseball punch to the face. Okay, so he did one where he would twirl you into him and punch you. It's like, it's not much better. Then he did one that I liked. It was like almost like a version of the rock bottom. That I liked, and then now he's back to you. It looks like something out of Mortal Kombat for those of you who had the Sega Genesis back in the day. It's kind of like almost like Kevin Owens' pop-up power bomb, but he just picks you straight up, and on the way down, he punches you in the face. And I'm like, that's not a finisher.
No,
that's a highlight move. Yes, that's like a trademark move. That's like the equivalent of Randy Orton's, DDT for the middle rope. That's the equivalent of that. He needs to. I'm sorry. It's not 1988 anymore. You can't finish someone off with a fucking punch.
I really don't like it. I prefer Elias Samson over No Way Jose. I do. I can't stand. He's goofy. He irritates me. His music annoys me. I like Rick. You can't be like, oh no, you're just hating No Way Jose. Like, I like Rich Swann and I like his entrance. No Way Jose just goofy. He feels goofy and he irritates me. But like you said, I reckon if you put him in, trunks, or you keep him in trousers, get him heel, I reckon he could be a badass motherfucker. He really could be a badass motherfucker. But as a babyface, as a goof, it just doesn't do it to me. Like, it looks like, when he gets angry, it's like, yes, get angry. That will not work in the main roster. That might work with the Full Sail fuckers and a really smart crowd. 205 Live is the exact proof of what I've been saying. These gimmicks, these great wrestlers will not get over on the main stage. That is proof on 205 Live. Absolute proof. And I actually reviewed 205 Live about 2 hours ago on my Patreon page. I got my Patreon link in the description. I did the 205 Live review. But the match itself, it was okay. Highlight of the match was Corey Graves on commentary. That's as bad as it gets, really, isn't it? The commentary was the star of the match. But I like Elias Samson. I think he's a lot more intense, and he's gotten better in the ring, and he's got really good heat. Like, they really don't want him to sing. And I think there could be a future for him, but then I also worry that he could also be unemployed by the end of this year.
Nah, I think they're going to hang on to. I think if they're going to start getting rid of people, I think they're going to get rid of people who either have been there for a while and have not been on TV, or have been on TV multiple times and it hasn't worked out. One guy that comes to mind, the Curse of Greatness, the guy, Angelo Dawkins. I can picture somebody like Angelo Dawkins getting released over someone like Elias Samson and No Way Jose.
Yeah, that's a possibility, but if they can see that they're not getting over in the crowd, then it's a different story. But I guess Elias Samson's over. No Way Jose, I just can't see him being a main roster appeal. Like, I'm excited tonight. No Way Jose's in action. Like, no. I just don't see it. He needs to sort that gimmick out, because that gimmick is destined for a failure. See, speaking of failures, that's our NXT review done. News time. Seth Rollins injured on Monday at the hands of Samoa Joe. Do you think this will work?
No, this is legit. If you actually look on somebody, and congratulations to the web for finding this clip. They put it up. there's a point where Joe has got Seth Rollins in the coquina clutch, and he's just, menacing looking, and you hear him go, "Are you okay?" And then you see Seth Rollins like, "I sure hope so."
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, that was on Twitter. Someone did that. That was pretty.
Yeah, that was really good. He went to Birmingham, Alabama, my old stomping grounds. There's an orthopedic surgeon down there, Dr. James Andrews. He's like the freaking best in the freaking world when it comes to stuff like that. He's got a whole clinic down there. He's got a team of doctors. That basically, if you're an athlete and you get hurt, that's where you want to go. He's getting checked out. Hopefully this won't require surgery, or hopefully it's not as bad as first thought, because that he re-injured that right knee, the one that he just came back from, that basically had to be repaired after that botched power bomb against Kane. So this means he could miss Mania again. From what I've read, WWE Creative is meeting again to come up with alternative plans, and just in the event, just in case Seth Rollins is unable to compete. Hopefully this isn't as bad as we think it is. I mean, he was on crutches. But here's my question. If something happens and Seth Rollins is unable to compete, what do you want to see? Do you want to see Triple H in a match against somebody, or would you just prefer to take Triple H out of the card altogether and just give that spot to Samoa Joe and somebody else?
I mean, what could you do? You could have Samoa Joe saying maybe being sympathetic, but you just debuted him as a heel, and you want to keep him as a heel. You want to keep him with Triple H as his heavy, as hitman, as such.
Well, I mean, there's your credit. I mean, there's something to get more heat on Samoa Joe, because boom, he just took out Seth Rollins before Mania. So
I mean, what you
sense.
could,
you know,
what you could do.
You know what you could do? And this just popped in my head, is basically have like the Authority, be like, continue to be the heels, her, Triple H, Stephanie. And then you have Samoa Joe basically be like the enforcer, they're just kind of bullying, and then have somebody, stand up to the bully. So who in the locker room is going to stand up to the bully? Who's going to, and I'm just throwing this name out here just for the hell of it. Doesn't have to be. Why not Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe?
Yeah, I think I told I can't remember which show, because there's 17,000 of them, but I said, why not have Sami Zayn beat Jericho at Fastlane for the US Championship? The night after, Samoa Joe attacks Sami Zayn and wants his US Championship. I think that would be a good match. But then that was with, in mind, Seth Rollins versus Triple H at WrestleMania. Now, with that potentially pushed away, it really is difficult. You could do Dean Ambrose versus Triple H. Like, you took out my best friend. Who the fuck do you think you are? I don't care if you're on Raw. I don't care if you're on NXT. I don't care wherever you are. I will find you and I will hurt you because you hurt my, my brother.
There's a lot of things there's a lot of different things they could do. I mean, I still like the idea of, okay, well, this is what, this is what happens when you stand up to the Authority. That great that it was Seth Rollins was squashed by Joe. Anybody else got any problems? Anybody else wants to say anything? And eventually somebody is going to have to come up, step up, go, you know what? I'm tired of your bullshit. Yeah, I'll take on your human bulldozer. I'll take them on. And there you go. There's your match. Or I like your idea, interpromotional. You could get somebody jump over from SmackDown to take on so you could do like a Raw versus SmackDown angle there. That's an easy one to do.
But do you think Triple H will settle in these meetings for Dean Ambrose? Because it is Mania and he'll want the biggest and the baddest, won't he? And the best. He knows he can get a good match out of Seth Rollins.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I think no matter what happens, I think Joe would win. So you need somebody.
Joe must win.
I think you would need Joe to win. So I think you would need somebody who's not going to get hurt too terribly bad by a loss.
Yeah, and I think Zayn, if he beats Jericho,
just my opinion.
Yeah, because then if you could in theory have Zayn lose. You really could have Zayn lose at Mania, because he's the ultimate underdog, and he's so good at playing that underdog character. I think it wouldn't hurt if Sami Zayn lost to Samoa Joe at Mania. But again, this is all, fingers crossed for Seth Rollins. I watched the WrestleMania, not the WrestleMania, the W24 with Seth Rollins a while ago, and the pain and the torture in his face knowing that he couldn't be at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
to have to do that again and know you have to wait a whole year, and the psychological aspect of that knee's gone twice in a row now. What happens if it goes again? Is it time to hang up the boots? I think that could be the psychological aspect, because now when he's doing a move in the ring, he won't be thinking, am I landing safe? He's thinking, oh, fuck, is my leg all right? Because it's been hurt 2 times in the space of a year. Like, it's scary. And I just hope he isn't too psychologically, battered from it, that he just gets better and keeps on going.
Right. Now, the other big news coming out of the wrestling world today is it was announced today that Lucha Underground will appear on Netflix this month. In fact, they're going to actually right now, it's almost Wednesday. It's still Wednesday, so it's 2 weeks from today of this recording. It will appear on Wednesday, the 15th of February, the day after Valentine's Day. I believe they're supposed to have seasons 1 and 2 ready to go. The company's Facebook page posted a graphic that said 5/31/17, so May 31st, which I believe one would assume that would be the return date. That would be the return of the second half of season 3 for Lucha Underground. I've heard reports that they could start filming for season 4 as early as this fall. So things are finally on the up and up. So congratulations to Lucha Underground. You really deserve it, and I really hope this becomes a big hit on Netflix.
Yeah, me too. And I hope it becomes such a big hit that it becomes available over here in the UK, because I know you guys get a lot of stuff that I don't on Netflix, which is irritating and annoying, but what can you do about it? But it's just really good news for them. It's another source of income, which is another good thing. More money. The wrestlers get paid more, etc., etc. More money to tape future tapings, which is good. And there was the idea of it going around that Netflix would get it and make it a Netflix original. What would be your idea of that? Because, then you could think about it. You could have the WWE Network, one of the top 5 subscription services, against Netflix, one of the top 5 subscription services in the world. And you could have a battle, not for ratings, but for dominance. Lucha Underground did this and network numbers did that. I think that could be really fascinating. But it all depends on if Netflix wants to invest.
I just really feel like we're comparing apples to oranges here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's 2 totally different shows, 2 totally different platforms, 2 totally different styles. And I think just because, Lucha Underground does Lucha Libre doesn't necessarily mean they have to, by their existence, be, competing with WWE.
Yeah. I agree. And even though the numbers aren't magnificent, they're still decent enough numbers to the point where it hasn't been kicked off the air yet, and they've got a rabid fan base and a cult following.
And not everybody gets the El Rey network, but I know Netflix has just an ungodly amount of subscribers.
Exactly, and imagine the people eligible to watch that. Oh, that's amazing! End of season. How do I see more? They hear the commentators talk about El Rey, they see, and they're like, "Oh shit, I have El Rey too." Boom. It's just. And you got to think, the amount of people that pirate Lucha Underground, imagine that. And now they can actually buy it on Netflix for $5.99 a month. That would be incredible. And I really hope that this... And I think the best thing about this is it kind of came when there was a down in the news, like Seth Rollins' injury, might miss WrestleMania, and then you're down. And then that pops up, and it's like, yes, come on, Lucha Underground is on Netflix. And I hope everyone who has Netflix checks out Lucha Underground and watches every episode. Anything else happened in the news, Boom? Because I know that I was sent loads of things. So what's happened?
Speaking of Lucha Underground, Ricochet's confirmed his contract with Lucha Underground has expired. So keep your eye. Where's he going to go? I mean, if his contract's expired, he can go anywhere. So keep your eyes open.
I hope he stays there, because I love the Prince Puma character, and Ricochet's a great wrestler, and what better place to wrestle against some of the best wrestlers in the world? I mean, he could go full-time New Japan. That's a possibility. But maybe NXT 205 Live. I don't want to. I don't want him to yet. I want him to do a bit more of Indies, and I want him to go to New Japan and have a great IWGP Junior Heavyweight title reign. I think he's good enough to be good to go over there and have a decent reign. Maybe him and Will Ospreay do something as well. I'd be sad if he went to WWE. I'm like this now. I'm at the point now where all these great indie guys, when they get a WWE, that I get a bit sad because I know that they're just gonna have to water down and wrestle the WWE style. And look at the 205 Live. You barely watch it. I only watch it if people pay me to watch it. It sucks because they wrestle the WWE style. Imagine Ricochet coming out and saying, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. Let's focus on the character." I just really think the Ricochet suits the Lucha Underground style. He's made for it. If not, goes to New Japan. I pray he doesn't go to NXT. But if he does, I will obviously follow him. I will obviously cheer for him and wish him nothing but success. But I do hope that he does stay in Lucha Underground. That's my 2 cents anyway. Anything else?
No, that's it. That's all the news there is news for now.
That's the news for now, exactly. We'll get some live comments. Chauncey Bullock says, "Brother LK, I knew you'd come." Hashtag beat up booms. Hashtag beat up.
What did I ever do to you, Chauncey? What did I ever do to you?
Dude, what's funny is, okay, every single show I'm live, he's always there live. So thank you for always watching. And B, every time he puts hashtag beat up booms, every single time without fail, and every single show I'm like, dude, booms can only do Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday because of work, but he still persists and is consistent in wanting to beat you up. Oh, what else have we got? He has Gary North says, "Who do you think will be cut from the main roster?" That's a good question.
Going to the main roster, and I've been glancing at WWE's page, and this is just what I think they would do. I think the Vaudevillains would be gone. I think Cruz would be on the bubble. I think Bo Dallas would be gone. Breather, no. I think Nikki may retire soon, so I wouldn't even fool with that. Curtis Axel would be gone. Darren Young would be gone. David Otunga, Titus O'Neil would be gone. I think Eric Rowan, you could probably let him go. The Shining Stars, maybe the Fashion Police, maybe they would be on the bubble. Gold Dust, I would go ahead and just get rid of. Jack Swagger, I'd get rid of. And here's one that might make you happy. I'd probably get rid of James Ellsworth.
Yes.
The Ascension would be gone. And Paige, definitely get rid of her.
Oh.
Yeah, R-Truth. I don't know, R-Truth would be on the bubble, but probably,
he'll never get fired because he connects well with the kids. I think he won't ever get fired. Like live events, I think Truth's the man.
I think Tyson Kidd's just going to get his release because realistically, I don't think he's ever coming back. Realistically,
no.
Nothing against him. I like him. I think he's a great guy. I hope he recovers. I hope he gets better. But I think he's good. But I think realistically, I don't know if he's ever coming back. Rosa Mendez, I get rid of.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's pretty true. And some people are like, well, what about like the Spirit Squad? Well, technically, the Spirit Squad's not on the roster. And a lot of the
no, they're not. Are they?
Yeah, the 205 guys I wouldn't even bother with right now. For now,
they're probably not getting paid enough to even calculate on their list of unemployment. The Taco Touchdown says James Ellsworth isn't going to make it to the end of this year. That is music to these ears. That is brilliant. Randy Morgan says, why the fuck was Seth doing a powerbomb to Kane? And why is Kane working while he's scripted? Oh, no, buddy, that was from before, when he got injured before.
Yeah, that was back in last November. There was a spot where Rollins, this was like a house show overseas. Rollins did like a sunset. It was kind of like a sunset flip. Like he flipped over. There was a spot on the top rope, and it was like he flipped over him, went down, and was supposed to powerbomb him through a table. Well, when he did that, his knee buckled, and that's why he spent all that time out with the knee surgery. And when they went down, when they did that spot with Samoa Joe, it was just kind of a freak accident. It was like Rollins's boot got kind of caught up on the canvas a little bit, and Samoa Joe took him down at an awkward angle, and it was on that right knee, that same knee he had surgery on, and he just re-injured it.
Poor guy. Gary North says Jack Swagger, Sin Cara, the Ascension, and the Shining Stars. Cut them all. Really, 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 really don't blame you. Really, really don't blame you. Vaudevillains can go too. Don't blame him. Chauncey Bullock, Boom Boom's man, says Naomi wins the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. I could see that happening at the Elimination Chamber. I can see that.
Do it because I think actually it was Brian Zane that was like on his channel pointed this out that WWE, especially with the women's division, is doing this thing where the champion keeps getting beat. It gets beat during the regular shows, and then when it finally goes, oh, okay, well, the challenger has earned a title shot here. We're going to do it at the pay-per-view. They do just enough to squeak by, and I think that's going to be the same case here. I think Alexa Bliss is going to do just enough to squeak by Naomi.
Yeah, I can see that, but I win that gut feeling. I just have that gut feeling that Naomi's going to win. And then Chauncey Bullock says, I just love to say hashtag beat up booms. He just loves saying it.
Oh, okay.
Randy Morgan says that was the joke. At the time, Kane was abducted by the Wyatts at the time. That might be true, actually. That might be true. I think he might be right. I think at the time it was abducted. I do generally think at the time that was the case, which is very sad. And it's WWE, very inconsistent. That's what they are, isn't it? Just inconsistent bastards. But any other news stories before we wrap this bad boy up, Mr. Boom Boom?
No, that is it, sir.
There we go. So we covered NXT, we covered the news, we talked Mania, we talked Chamber, we talked Fastlane, we talked it all right here on Wrestle AM. We'll be back with Wrestle AM tomorrow after Impact Wrestling. Are we correct, Mr. Boom Booms?
Yeah, of course. I might check it out. I might just see like a storyline through.
Yeah, just check the show out. It's the Open Fight Night one, Boom, so it will be those briefcases cashed in. So you're pretty much guaranteed 4 title matches. So I recommend you to watch it. Also, we'll be back tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow after Impact Wrestling airs at 3 a.m. my time. We'll be back for Wrestle AM. And then Friday, we're going to do MMA AM and then Wrestle AM after that. Saturday, I'm having a night off. Sunday, we're going to do Wrestle AM, where myself and SOS Wrestle Talk, we're going to review the New Japan the New Beginning show, sorry. And then Monday, Wrestle AM with Raw Review. And the idea of the Wrestle AMs are, you're going to get the exact same review and you're going to get the live comments, but the difference is we're going to talk about news as well. So you can cram it all into one. And also, if you want even more content than this, I have my own Patreon page. For example, I did a 205 live review. So if you want to support, I have a goal. I have a little speech there. So go check that out. Links in the description box. I just did an MMA AM, talked about the UFC on Fox 23 show. Check that out. I'm very new. I'm a very green MMA guy. Like, I'm really new into MMA. I only started watching it late December. So it's really interesting having me, and I had a co-host who's really a hardcore MMA fan for 20 plus years. Me as a pro wrestling fan now sliding into both combat of MMA and pro wrestling. It was a fascinating listen, and I learned a lot. So I'm excited to continue my journey into becoming a MMA fan as well. So check that out. Lots happening. Kocosports.net as always. And Booms, show more of the best salesman in the business.
I want to tell everybody to check us out at Kocosports.com, KOCOsports.com. It's your home for combat sports. It's where the world goes to kick ass, and most importantly, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. You can also check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe to us there. We're cranking out shows all the time. Royal Rumble review in the can. NXT Takeover review in the can. Raw review in the can. SmackDown review in the can. TNA on deck. And anything else coming. And of course, we got New Japan stuff coming up. Evolve just had a event that's in the can. We've got, we're just doing all kinds of stuff. We're actually looking for some help. So if some of you are interested in reviewing, hit us up here. You got to be over 18. That's pretty much the only.
No. You have to be 18 and have already done a show. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have to have experience. Like that guy who I had on showed the show before, he already had an experience. And this is why I'm going to do Wrestle AM. Because when I do Wrestle AM, I can kind of have different co-hosts on, and it won't really matter because it's not Kocosports Presents. It's Kocosports Presents Wrestle AM. And Wrestle AM brand is the Kocosports with additional people. So if you don't have a show, just make a YouTube video. You can just make one YouTube video reviewing the show, and then you're like, look, I did this review, send it to me, I can hear your audio quality, I can hear if you have it, and then you can come on the show. Simple as that. But again, you're better off just send me a DM on Twitter or Facebook message me, and we'll sort something out, even if we just do a Fave 5 or something.
All right, so then that's going to do it for us. So in the meantime, stay classy now, and the boom just went bang, and I am out.